Hello, Professor Pot. No. Anyway, Frank here anyway. So today I'm working on this new idea, which actually is an old idea, which is, well, anyway, one of those things. So with a few more pointers for the wayward textualists about text, right? Everything is text. There we go. We have here Groundhog Day. That's very good. Text, you know, because somebody can write out the script, and then they can say, here's the actor cues and all that stuff, and then the sound design people, so stuff I do, you know, sound is here, and then we have off stage and sort of sound design and sound mixing, and then a visual, so everything can be reduced to text, right? So, and of course my favorite statement that every set of, I say a dictionary, a text is sufficient length and depth and complexity contains every other text. And so the clearest idea is that would be, here we go. Let's think of that here. Here we go. This is one, but this will do. This is the Roget's International Thesaurus. Yes, there it is. Nice, nice. With the little thing, you have to get this one. It's so cool. Because unlike other thesauri, or thesaurusi, or thesaurus, thesauribus, I don't know if it's fifth declension or third. Anyway, it's based on ideas. So if you look up an idea like kid gloves, so kid glove, it says kid glove politics, so, you know, which is different than kid gloves. Treat them with kid gloves, you know, which is different than kid glove politics. So it's the idea of a word that means kid glove. That's the word we know. And we're trying to think, okay, what's the better word for this? Not, you know, so you're trying to figure out the other word. And so you have to think in the context, and of course we take as an axiom, as a law, Umberto Eco's concept. Context is king. You know, you can say anything you want. In one context, it means this. In another context, it means something totally different. And just look at TV and politics. Here we go again. Anyway, so that's the idea. As this is a dictionary. It's a thesaurus. And so it contains other thesauruses within it. And then if they're sufficiently complex, they would contain this one. And everything's fine. So what's the difference then? The difference is in the details, and the details are the narrative of the story that's sort of put into it. For example, Twilight Zone. Yes, very good. We're losing. This is sort of the motivation. We're losing contact with these basic fundamental texts. I mean, we go back to things, you know, like the stories in the various religious books, and of course the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Quran. It's always the big three, you know. And God is always a he, isn't it? Imagine that. Male-dominated society. So anyway, and we won't go into anything else besides that. But regardless, the point is that there are certain texts, like, you know, if you think about fairy tales. Goldilocks and Three Bears. Then we think of Grimm's fairy tales. And Grimm's fairy tales, his brothers Grimm, two brilliant linguists, and they're also scientists of the first order. Grimm's law of money, bad money drives out good. Grimm's law of the way that, like the word vater, mein Vater, my father, is F-A-T-T-E-R, and that becomes father, F-A-E-T-H-E-R in Old English, and then it evolves to father, F-A-T-H-E-R. And that's the way that language, when used as an actual working language, and how it evolves and how it changes, and the vowels and how they change, and so forth. So there's the Brothers Grimm. But the Brothers Grimm went around and gathered all these stories, you know, Cinderella, and rookity shoe, blut in dem shoe, or something like that. Look at the shoe, there's blood in the shoe, because you remember in the original, you know, the sister's foot wouldn't fit, so she chopped off her toe so that it would fit, and the little bird is warning the prince, or whoever says, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, that foot has been mangled to the point to force it into the shoe, and see, like on the blue over there, there's blood in the shoe. I'd say there's blood everywhere. You cut your toe, it's probably going to be, but they were going in for realism there, as with Sam Peckinpah, or of course all the gore stuff we see these days. Even though I think a lot of times he was completely off base. Oh, anyway, no, that notwithstanding. What were we talking about? Oh, yes, so the essence is the text. But these fairy tales and these stories, that sometimes they're national, sometimes they're cultural, sometimes they're derived from culture and nation and sociological history and all that kind of stuff. But there's stuff like this Star Trek and Doctor Who and Harry Potter, which is the modern ones. The Stephanie Meyer's, the Twilight series, and so those are now the modern, and they will slowly think, well, this can't possibly ever disappear, and then slowly will fade and disappear. Even Star Trek. They made the new movie, really fantastic, so we're going to make the new series. Those people seem to work well, had lots of zing to it, had a couple of time travel warp thingies, and a complete mad sort of character that was performing, you know, Ricardo Montalban, I think, will always be, in any person's estimate, the worst enemy the Star Trekian people have ever faced. I mean, the Q, he's well, there, you know, the Q is the Q. I mean, clown or madman, I'm not sure. I think the Q is probably just jealous. I think it is. I think there's no, see, but we think Khan, you know, I'll chase him round the rugged rocks of rascals, or what he says. His quote is from this thing doesn't work ever. Oh, there, Moby Dick, of course, yes. So, which also comes up in the First Contact, Moby Dick, and she says, he says, "Don't you read?" And then Picard. It's very funny because Patrick Stewart actually played Ahab in the film of Moby Dick. You see, so there's an interesting sort of cross current. But to the point, Darmok and Gillard at Tanagra. As it Timba, his arms, Timba, his sails unfurled, I think. You know, there's always things. That one episode is a fantastic idea of the key to how we use stories to explain and do all this kind of stuff. And if you notice right here, behind me here, this is, of course, I thought it was the Himalayas. It may be the Himalayas, but I'm not sure. But it's mountains. And to me, of course, the way I see things, I'm looking at, wow, this is a mountain version of the Infinite wall mural by Pollock that was being put. And if you should see the movie Pollock, you say, by Ed Harris, you say, very good. And ideas that goes on forever. Beautiful, fantastic. So that recapitulates an idea. Recap. We use the word recaps. We don't use the word recapitulates. A very nice word. Anyway, and of course, obviously, I'm working my latest transcendence into. I'm sorry, that's upside down. There we go. That's better. No wonder it didn't make any sense. Into, of course, pataphysics and its implications for modern day society, which, as you well know, would mean that. These allergy tablets, you just keep using more and more of them, and then just so the only choice you have is. Wait a second. I'm sorry. My flying saucer's landing. I have to return to Neptune right now. But I'll see you later, and I'll continue the representation, the conversation soon. Yeah, it's just this. I have to call them. Take pi, the square root, and divide by 7 equals, and do the non-fraction. There we go. Peace. Always be looking up some stuff on fables and. Edith Hamilton, here's some reading for you. Edith Hamilton, Bullfinch, this guy named Bullfinch is one of the great guys, sort of a standard. Of course, Robert Graves, who's most known for, of course, I, Claudius. And don't forget to look up, of course, E.P. Bird, E-P-P-Y, and Bird, and then you can put Mentos, M-E-N-T-O-S, and you'll have some great experiments to watch those two guys. It's fantastic. Applied hydrostatics, well, I don't know quite, hydrodynamics, there we go. And the sock puppet theater. Yes. And I think that's it. Anyway, peace, always. Was there any point to this? I'm not sure. What was the plot of this thing? Was there some coherent thread? Yes, the man has clearly lost whatever marbles he still had left in his head. I'm sorry, in his head. Marbles. I don't have marbles in my head. It's some sort of a spongy, horrible looking thing. Remember, don't pull that. You never know what it's hooked up to. Which is from Buckaroo Banzai, 8.5 dimension or something like that. Could be 7.5, down 5%. If your coupon, it's only 4 dimensions, you know. Peace, always.